Andrew Ravens here of eFightNews.com, WrestleNewsPost.com, and RavensNewsPost.com for a little UFC 191 preview. This card is sick. Okay, you have to give the UFC props for stacking such a card. Okay, it's just how it is. I will say this though: the pay-per-view will not draw over 150 pay-per-view buys, which is a shame because it's a very good card. Flyweights do not sell. They didn't sell. Well, of course they fly because they're flyweights, but they do not sell on free TV. They do not sell on pay-per-view. It's just a matter of fact, y'all. People don't believe that they're real fighters. Even though if you fought them, they would whoop your ass. But, who cares? So, I just want to run down the main card. The undercard is very good. You have Ross Pearson taking on Paul Fielder. Francisco Rivera taking on John Lineker. Jessica Andre taking on Raquel Pinga. Clay Collards taking on Tiago Tractor. And then Joe Riggs taking on Ron Stallings, which should be a great fight. The pay-per-view kicks off with number 7 ranked Paige 12 Gauge Van Zant taking on Alexis Chambers. Van Zant actually came out with a statement in an interview on the media luncheon on Monday, Tuesday, something like that, and basically stated that her fight against Chambers is a lesser fight. She should be fighting at least a ranked fighter, if not a higher ranked fighter than her, even though Paige Van Zant has only fought twice in the UFC. Okay? She holds a 5-1 record over a 4-2 Chambers. It's not like she's going out there and just murdering folks. Okay? She's taking them down. She's either grinding them out for 3 rounds or she eventually makes them just give up with her punches. Okay? So, easy there, mini GSP. Paige Van Zant should win this fight, but Chambers could be an upset because Van Zant might not take her lightly. It's a fight, y'all. Anything can happen. Corey Anderson takes on Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz is 12th ranked. He actually holds an 18-4 record, while Anderson holds a 6-1. This should be a very, very fun fight. A lot of people are overlooking this fight, and I don't know why. I think it may have to do with Blachowicz riding a 6-fight winning streak while Anderson's coming off of a loss to Gian Villette at UFC Fight Night, or UFC on Fox 15. By the way, why do UFC calls their UFC on Fox events Fight Nights? Like, if you're just like someone just looking at the name, you're thinking, oh, it's just a little Fight Night on Fox Sports 1, which are terrible, I might add. Fight Nights on Fox Sports 1 has no one you care about on the undercard. Some guys you care, but they're not very well known. Like the hardcores only know them. And then you have a main event that here lately have just been terrible. Well, now I will say upcoming they have really good main events, but in the previous Fight Nights they've been terrible. So just name them UFC on Fox. Moving on from that, Anthony Johnson, number 1 ranked for the light heavyweight championship, returns following his loss to Daniel Cormier back at UFC 187. Pretty quick turnaround. They just fought in May. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a layoff, but not too much. He takes on Jimmy Manuel, who is a beast. Can I say it one more time? He's a beast. And the reason I say that is because he's a beast. Let me get up my stats real quick. But Johnson, he was on a tear. Okay, look, he got cut from the UFC after a little bit of a fight losing streak, but he also was cut because of his weight issues. He could never make middleweight. He finally moved up to light heavyweight. He went on a tear in the World Series of Fighting, signed, came back, and has been on a tear ever since. He ran into Daniel Cormier, who he did rock in the first round of that fight, but he was also submitted by Daniel Cormier in the third round of UFC 187. He was supposed to fight John Jones originally. Everybody knows what John Jones did, blah, 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 blah. However, Emmanuel is 15-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, and is coming off of a unanimous decision victory over Jan Blachowicz at UFC Fight Night 64. Emmanuel is a boom. beast. But Johnson is a more stellar, credible, accurate, dependable fighter. Johnson should win this, but I don't think it'll be anything quick. I think it'll be a unanimous decision. Co-main event, which is pretty much the number one contenders for the heavyweight championship. So whenever Fabricio Verdum takes on Cain Velasquez, whenever that fight happens, I think they have it booked, or they want to book it. I really can't think of it off the top of my head. And someone's probably listening to this like, hey, dumbass, they have it booked for whatever. But you know what? Look it up. If you know it, awesome. I don't know it at the moment. It's cool, y'all. We have our moments. Andrei Arlovski's ranked number 4 in the heavyweight division, while Frank Mir has been on a resurgence, who's ranked number 10th. Arlovski's coming off of a sick fight with Travis Brownie. Whatever your feelings on Brownie is after his alleged domestic abuse, take that what it is. But they had a great fight back at UFC 187. He's been on a tear. You know, he left the UFC. He had a little bit of a losing streak. A lot of people wrote him off, especially due to his age. But he put together a fighting win streak. He came back to the UFC. He's winning his fights at an older age. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. Okay. And he's a guy that a lot of people thought should have got the title shot over Cain Velasquez. It's just that simple. Frank Mir was on a losing streak bad. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Daniel Cormier, he lost to Josh Barnett, lost to Alistair Overeem, and a lot of people were calling for his retirement. However, he rebounded with a first-round KO of Antonio Bigfoot Silva in February of 2014. That's 2015, y'all. Little typo there. But then he also beat Todd Duffy just a few weeks ago at UFC Fight Night 71. So Mir is one of those guys who I want to see win. Like, a lot of people do not like him because he's very arrogant and cocky and confident. I think a lot of people get that misconstrued with he's very confident in his skills and abilities, while a lot of people think that it's arrogance and cockiness. And there's a great piece on Low Kick MMA about him trolling fans about that. So you might go and check that out. I think Mike Durant wrote that. He's my editor. Anyway. Good guy. So, Arlovski is one of those guys who's on a tear. I don't think he can beat Cain. I don't think he can beat Verdum, but I think he can beat Frank Mir. I think this is a first-round knockout. I think he catches Mir. I think Mir comes out blazing. Arlovski kind of backpedals when that happens because Travis Brown did the same thing. Brown actually had him hurt in that fight, and then Arlovski came back with a devastating right hand. I think Mir blitzes him. I think he gets him on the ropes, but at the end, I think Arlovski finished him late in the first round. And then in the main event of the evening, the fight that no one wants to see, apparently, only the hardcores do, which I don't understand. These guys always give great interviews leading up to the fight, which makes me excited. I will say this. Flyweights are fun to watch, but if you're looking for a knockout, you need to change the channel. That's just how it is. I think they're fun. I think they deserve a spot on the card. I think the championship bouts should headline events. And hopefully their credibility and reputation will get better. Johnson and Dodson, which is a great little name right there, they talk a lot of trash going up to the fight. Makes me excited for the fight, not only because I'm a fight fan in general, but I cover the sport for a living. Johnson is a guy who's riding an 8-fight winning streak. In his last 5, he's finished 4. And out of all those, the only guy that gave him difficulty was John Dodson, who also took him to the limit. They went all 5 rounds. John Dodson's on a 3-fight winning streak following the loss to Johnson back at UFC on Fox 6. He ripped off 3 straight first round knockout, second round knockout, and then a unanimous decision over Zach Madagalski at UFC 87. So we shall see on that. I think Dodson will pull it out. I think they'll fight for a third time. He even talked about even fighting more just because of the longevity of these two guys, hopefully. Johnson should win this fight by unanimous decision, but we shall see. It could be going by split decision. John Dodson has improved tremendously since their first encounter, so we shall see. UFC 91 pay-per-view event takes place this Saturday night, August 5th, or September 5th. I keep saying August. September 5th on pay-per-view. eFightNews.com and RavensNewsSpecial.com will have you covered on that event. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm Andrew Ravens. This is August 3rd, preview show for UFC 191. Demetrius Johnson taking on John Dodson. Enjoy the fight, y'all, and keep it classy.